Imagine rewinding time itself, not just history, not just the formation of Earth or the birth of our sun. Rewind everything, every galaxy, every atom, every photon of light, all of it collapsing backward into a single point smaller than the period at the end of a sentence. Now keep going, go further back. Before that point existed, before matter, before energy, before space itself had any meaning. What do you find? That question has kept physicists awake at night for decades, and the answers they are starting to uncover are not just strange. They are genuinely terrifying. We all know the standard story. Roughly 13.8 billion years ago, the universe exploded into existence from an incomprehensibly dense, incomprehensibly hot singularity. The Big Bang. It is the most successful scientific theory in human history, supported by the cosmic microwave background radiation, the expansion of galaxies, the abundance of light elements. The evidence is overwhelming. But here is the problem nobody talks about in the textbooks. The Big Bang theory describes what happened after the first fraction of a second. It tells us how the universe expanded, how it cooled, how matter condensed and stars ignited. What it does not tell us, what it cannot tell us, is what caused it. The theory describes the explosion. It says nothing about the match, and when physicists try to push their equations back to time zero, to that infinitely dense point of origin, the math breaks. Not in a subtle way, it breaks completely. General relativity, our best theory of gravity and space-time, produces infinities, singularities, numbers that no longer correspond to anything physically meaningful. It is as if the universe itself is saying, you are not allowed to ask this question. But scientists are asking it anyway, and what they are finding is enough to reshape everything we thought we understood about existence. Let us start with the most unsettling possibility. What if there was genuinely nothing before the Big Bang? Not empty space, not darkness, not a void, actual nothing. No space, no time, no dimensions, no laws of physics, no potential, no possibility, true ontological nothingness. This is where your brain starts to rebel because human beings cannot actually conceive of nothing. Every time you try to imagine it, you picture blackness, emptiness, a dark room. But that is still something. That is still space. True nothing has no container. It has no location. It has no before or after because time does not exist within it. And yet, somehow, from this absolute absence, everything erupted into being. Every star, every planet, every living creature, every thought you have ever had, all of it emerging from nothing at all. If that does not terrify you on some deep existential level, you have not thought about it hard enough. But we will come back to the implications of that. First, there is another possibility that is somehow even stranger. Quantum mechanics, the physics of the very small, offers a bizarre alternative. At the quantum level, particles pop in and out of existence constantly. They appear from nothing, exist for unimaginably brief moments, and vanish again. This is not theoretical, it is measured, it is proven. The vacuum of space is not empty. It is a seething foam of virtual particles, a roiling ocean of potential that never quite settles into stillness. Some physicists, including the late Stephen Hawking, proposed that the entire universe might be the ultimate quantum fluctuation, a bubble of space-time that emerged from quantum foam, inflated wildly, and never collapsed back. In this model, the universe is essentially a glitch, a random hiccup in the fabric of quantum probability that just happened to persist. Think about that for a moment. Everything you have ever known, every civilization, every mountain range, every sunrise, all of it might be an accident. A statistical anomaly that quantum mechanics allowed and could never take back. But that is not the only model on the table, and the next one might be the most profound of all. Sir Roger Penrose, one of the greatest living mathematical physicists and a Nobel laureate, proposed something called conformal cyclic cosmology. His theory suggests that the universe did not begin with the Big Bang. It suggests that the Big Bang was not a beginning at all. It was a transition. In Penrose's model, the universe goes through infinite cycles. Each cycle begins with a Big Bang, expands for trillions upon trillions of years until all matter decays, all black holes evaporate, and nothing remains but photons. Particles of light drifting through an impossibly vast, empty cosmos. And here is the key insight. When the universe contains nothing but massless particles, the concept of scale becomes meaningless. An infinitely large, empty universe becomes mathematically indistinguishable from an infinitely small, dense point. And so it resets. The end of one universe becomes the beginning of the next. The Big Bang is not a birth, it is a phoenix moment. And what existed before our Big Bang was another universe, an entire cosmos that lived and died so that ours could exist. Penrose claims he has found evidence for this. Circular patterns in the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang that he interprets as gravitational wave echoes from black hole collisions in the previous universe, signatures of a dead cosmos bleeding through into our own. Not everyone agrees with his analysis, but the data is real, the patterns are there, the argument is about what they mean. Then there is the multiverse. String theory, one of the leading candidates for a theory of everything, predicts not one universe, but an almost inconceivable landscape of possible universes. Some calculations suggest 10 to the power of 500 different possible configurations, each one a universe with different physical constants, different particles, different laws. Our Big Bang in this framework was just one bubble nucleating in an eternal, ever-expanding foam of universe creation. There was no single beginning. There is no single universe. There is an infinite, eternal process of cosmic genesis happening constantly, has always been happening, will never stop happening. Our universe is not the story. It is one word in a book with infinite pages. And yet, here is what keeps cosmologists staring at their ceilings at 3 in the morning. Every single one of these models, the quantum fluctuation, the cyclic cosmos, the multiverse, they all push the question back one step further without ever actually answering it. If the universe is a quantum fluctuation, what are the quantum laws that allowed it? Where did they come from? If the universe is cyclic, what started the first cycle? If the multiverse exists, what is the mechanism that generates universes? And where did that mechanism originate? The question of what came before the Big Bang is not really a question about cosmology. It is a question about existence itself. Why is there something rather than nothing? And every answer we construct becomes a new version of the question. Some physicists have started to argue that the question is fundamentally unanswerable, that asking what came before the Big Bang is like asking what is north of the North Pole. The question is grammatically correct, but physically meaningless. Time began with the Big Bang, there is no before, the word before has no referent. But that answer has never satisfied anyone. It feels like a dodge. It feels like the universe drawing a curtain over its own origin and telling us to stop looking. And maybe that is the most terrifying thing of all. Not that the answer is strange, not that it involves quantum foam or infinite cycles, or a multiverse beyond comprehension. The terrifying thing is the possibility that we are not equipped to understand it. That human consciousness evolved to track predators across savannas and calculate social hierarchies in small tribes simply does not have the cognitive architecture to comprehend its own origin. We are the universe trying to understand itself, and we may have reached the edge of what self-understanding can achieve. But consider this. 1,000 years ago, the idea that the Earth orbited the Sun was unthinkable. 200 years ago, the age of the universe was estimated at a few thousand years. 50 years ago, we did not know other planets existed beyond our solar system. The boundary of the unknowable has been retreating for centuries. Maybe the question of what existed before the Big Bang will be answered in a decade. Maybe it will take 1,000 years. Maybe it requires a kind of mathematics that has not been invented yet, or a kind of thinking that the human mind, or its successors, will eventually develop. Or maybe, just maybe, the answer is already hidden in plain sight. In the quantum foam, in the fabric of space-time, in the fact that something, against all odds and all logic, exists at all. And we are part of it. We are made of it. Whatever force or fluctuation or eternal cycle brought this universe into being, it became you. It became your awareness. It became the very curiosity that drives you to ask the question. The universe did not just create observers, it created beings who would look back at the moment of creation and wonder. And that might be the most meaningful answer we ever find.